It was supposed to be a routine promotional appearance, but things quickly spiraled out of control when Mark Wahlberg joined the panel on The View, for what turned into one of the most unexpectedly intense segments the show has seen in years. The actor, known for his no-nonsense attitude and Boston bluntness, was there to discuss his latest film and philanthropic work, but host Joy Behar had other plans. The tension began to build just minutes into the interview when Behar pressed Wahlberg on his controversial past and questioned whether he had truly reckoned with his privilege. Wahlberg, visibly taken aback but composed, tried to redirect the conversation back to his charity work and his commitment to uplifting underserved communities. "I'm not perfect," he said, "but I've grown, and I'm focused on helping others do the same." However, Behar wasn't satisfied, responding sharply, "Growth is good, but accountability is better." The exchange grew frostier as other panelists attempted to intervene, but the tone was already set. Wahlberg fired back, saying, "I came here to talk about the work I'm doing now, not to be dragged back into a past I've worked hard to grow from." The audience grew noticeably quiet as the back and forth escalated. Finally, after one particularly barbed comment from Behar suggesting Wahlberg was just another celebrity trying to buy redemption with a camera crew, the actor stood up, took off his mic, and with a tight smile said, "I think we're done here," before walking off the set. The moment was clipped, posted, and circulated within minutes, igniting an avalanche of online discourse that hasn't slowed since. Asterisk. The internet lit up like wildfire in the aftermath of Wahlberg's dramatic exit, with pundits, fans, and critics all weighing in on what quickly became a media flashpoint. Social media platforms were flooded with clips of the encounter, and hashtags like #WahlbergWalks, #JoyWentTooFar, and #TheViewMeltdown began trending globally. Reactions were predictably polarized. Supporters of Wahlberg praised his composure and applauded him for refusing to engage in what they saw as a public ambush disguised as an interview. "He came to talk about community work, not get grilled like he's on trial," one user wrote. Others, however, backed Behar, claiming that tough questions come with the territory and that public figures shouldn't expect softball interviews when they've had controversial pasts. But even among those sympathetic to Behar's line of questioning, many agreed. The tone felt unnecessarily hostile, more like a courtroom cross-examination than a daytime talk show segment. Media analysts joined the fray, dissecting every pause. Eyebrow raise and shift in posture, pointing out how the conversation derailed, not due to content, but delivery. This wasn't journalism. "It was theater," said one prominent television critic. Meanwhile, inside sources from The View began leaking details to entertainment blogs, revealing that Wahlberg's team had specifically requested the focus stay on his charity and upcoming film project. According to one unnamed producer, he felt blindsided. He walked in expecting a promotional segment and got a lecture. Despite this, the show's ratings saw a brief spike from the controversy, prompting speculation that the producers had intentionally steered the segment into combative territory for virality. Wahlberg, for his part, issued a short and measured statement through his publicist. Mark believes in meaningful conversation, not confrontation. He respects the platform, but won't participate in personal attacks. That simple line added fuel to an already blazing discourse. Was the moment a necessary reckoning, or just another ratings stunt at the expense of civil dialogue? Asterisk, as the story continued to dominate headlines. It became clear that Wahlberg's walkout had struck a nerve in the broader cultural conversation about celebrity accountability, media tone, and the blurry line between tough journalism and performative confrontation. Talk shows across the country dissected the incident, each framing it through their ideological lens. Is some painting Wahlberg as a thin-skinned celebrity who couldn't handle hard questions? Others defending him as a man who's done the work to grow and simply refused to tolerate being dragged backwards. The debate even reached late-night monologues, where comedians took jabs at both sides. One quipped, "It's The View, not the interrogation room unless you're a male guest." With a checkered past, meanwhile, editorials emerged that went beyond the day's drama, focusing instead on The View's history of sparking walkouts. verbal spats and viral moments that seemed designed for outrage clicks rather than meaningful dialogue. For Wahlberg supporters, the walkout wasn't just a personal boundary, it was symbolic. It reflected a growing exhaustion with platforms that extend invitations under the pretense of goodwill, only to spin controversy for engagement. Several celebrities quietly voiced support behind the scenes, with one unnamed actor reportedly declining an invitation to appear on The View, citing what happened to Wahlberg as a cautionary example. On the flip side, Behar doubled down in a follow-up episode, unapologetically addressing the incident with her trademark blend of sarcasm and steel. "If asking real questions is an attack, then maybe I should just hand out cookies," she said, drawing both laughter and uncomfortable silence from the panel. The crowd was divided. The moment exposed a deeper tension in modern media where the line between accountability and ambush is thinner than ever. And viewers are left wondering whether real dialogue can still exist without theatrics getting in the way. Asterisk, in the midst of the controversy, Wahlberg took a different route than most, embroiled in viral TV moments. He didn't retaliate with fiery posts or a tell-all interview. Instead, he quietly shifted his focus back to the causes he originally came on the show to promote. Within days, he was spotted visiting youth centers in Chicago and speaking at a small business summit in Detroit, keeping his press team minimal and his statements focused on community uplift. The contrast between his grounded public appearances and the media circus around The View clash only heightened interest. People began drawing comparisons between Wahlberg's approach and the increasingly theatrical nature of daytime talk television, noting how the former seemed to elevate the conversation while the latter reveled in chaos. Influencers and thought leaders started reframing the incident not as a meltdown, but a form of quiet protest, intentional exit from a setting that prioritized spectacle over sincerity. Some even described Wahlberg's move as an act of self-preservation in a media landscape designed to provoke. Meanwhile, The View continued its regularly scheduled programming, but the shadow of the controversy lingered. Viewer comments flooded social pages, questioning whether the show had crossed a line. Calls for a more balanced, less antagonistic approach to interviewing guests began to surface even among longtime fans. A few guest cancellations followed in the wake of the incident, including one notable celebrity who cited concerns over manufactured conflict. Backstage, according to insider leaks, tensions were brewing among producers over how the segment had been handled. One reportedly argued that the show needed to return to intelligent conversation and step away from ambush journalism. Whether that message took root or not remained unclear, but Wahlberg's absence had started a ripple effect. He may have walked off a stage, but the impact of that walk reverberated far beyond the set walls, forcing both media figures and audiences to confront the kind of conversations they actually want to have. Asterisk, in the weeks that followed, Mark Wahlberg's now infamous walkout evolved from a moment of viral drama into a larger cultural flashpoint, a case study in the evolving dynamics between celebrities, the press, and the expectations of modern audiences. Far from fading, the incident continued to ripple through op-eds, think pieces, and university media lectures, with many asking whether daytime television has lost its footing as a place for authentic exchange. Wahlberg, for his part, remained largely removed from the chaos, choosing instead to invest time in his youth initiatives and community business programs. Ironically, his absence from the debate kept him at the center of it. His decision not to return fire elevated him in the eyes of some as a figure willing to disengage from spectacle and let his actions speak. Meanwhile, Joy Behar's own public persona seemed to hearten. She became both a lightning rod for criticism and a hero to those who value hard-hitting interrogation over feel-good fluff. The View's ratings fluctuated, seeing both surges from curiosity and dips from disillusioned viewers, and the network reportedly held several internal meetings about the long-term image of the show. While no official apologies were made, a subtle shift occurred in the following weeks. Interviews became slightly more measured. Segments felt less combative, and producers seemed more cautious about tone. Behind the scenes, a quiet industry reckoning had begun. Talk show hosts, podcast producers, and PR agents started reassessing what it meant to invite guests for a conversation, and whether those invitations were being weaponized. In retrospect, Wahlberg's Walkout wasn't just about him or Bel Harit, was about an audience that's grown weary of conflict dressed as commentary. In walking off, he may have stepped out of the spotlight momentarily, but he left behind a question still echoing across the entertainment landscape. When did conversations stop being about understanding and start being about spectacle?